And we are live, folks. Looking at the sun in 304 angstroms. A lot of stuff to cover, so no time to screw around. No lead time. Going to show you a couple more views of the sun here. We see 0 sunspots, and we see solar minimum conditions with a 10.7 centimeter radial flux back down to 67. We see one large filament in the northeast, as well as a sprite that we've captured. All right, and we're going to look at a different view here also. We're going to look at the colored magnetogram. Again, we see 0 sunspots, but we do see some activity down there with that region that used to be sunspot 2744. And we also see some activity rising right over here. All right, and let's look at one more view while we're here. 193 angstroms rather. And we see some coronal holes there in the south. North Pole coronal hole still looking quite large, as it has grown in the past little while. So there's 8.5 hours of your local yellow dwarf at 193 angstroms. Look at more stuff here, such as the real-time solar wind. Very low density. We see a significantly negative BZ and a rising BT. So overall field strength increasing there, folks. Negative BZ is associated with earthquake risk. Phi angle is currently at, looks like it's hopping around, down around 90 degrees right now. Solar wind density very low, 0.84 protons per cubic centimeter, and we've lost about 100 kilometers per second in the solar wind speed since yesterday, down to 489 kilometers per second. Next, we'll look at where stuff is, and there's where stuff is. There's where stuff will be in 1 week. Here's some more stuff. This is the stuff above my head. Make yourself your own star chart by heading to in-the-sky.org. Put in your coordinates, maybe draw in the ecliptic. Saturn setting. Where will you be when Venus rises? Next, we'll look at the magnetosphere movies here and continue with some music as we are dead air free. So we see a very low density, very low density. And next we'll look at the pressure. Very low pressure, despite that slightly elevated solar wind speed. Thanks for tuning in, everybody who's there. And thanks for tuning in, everybody who's viewing this later. Again, we're operating very late today, so let's move on. Look at the geospace ground magnetic perturbations being monitored by thousands of ground-based magnetometers around the world. We see 2 north poles and we see a south pole creeping into the Indian Ocean. No big perturbations there, although I would note one thing, the diagram coming on the next tab, which explains why the solar wind immediately translates to magnetic ground perturbations. It's because there's current traveling through the planet. And we have links to this whiteboard also. Just a simple diagram we drew here. Here's where the bow shock occurs. Here's the magnetotail out here. And that's caused by current passing through the planet. If you weren't aware, well, we're more than happy to inform you. Links to the whiteboard in the description below this video. Speaking of links below the video, thanks patrons, as you are helping to keep this channel afloat. And yesterday we screwed around a little bit. We saw a magnetic field that looked a bit like a Planet of the Apes image, seen in blue here. So I decided to make a GIF animation about it. Anyway, if you follow us on Patreon, you might see some things you don't otherwise see. We try to put some exclusive content on every different social media and so on that we operate. So thanks again, patrons. If you're not a patron yet, why not become one? It's only $1 a month. If you want to support the channel in other ways, and we recommend you do, as we prefer to keep making the videos every day, check out the Spaced Out campaign via Hemp Lucid. Again, links in the description below this video to the Hemp Lucid campaign. And thanks again, everybody who's helping to support the channel. So anyway, check out some whole plant CBDs, perhaps, or some isoterp Kalki products, or perhaps some lip balm, or some wax, or some edible gummies, or some body creams, or perhaps CBD for your pets. Looks like the fish flavored is still on sale, folks. 30% off, as well as 30% off the 1,000 milligram whole plant CBD hemp seed oil suspension. So if you're not spaced out enough, you want to be spaced out more, or maybe you'll be less spaced out if you take CBDs, check out Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign, specifically designed for our spaced out viewers. Also, check out the sponsor shop, theveloshop.net, located at 5412 Shimerville Road. Go visit Becky. Go buy a bike. Go to the website. Maybe get yourself a new seat post. I know I'm in the market for one. Anyway, theveloshop.net, official bike shop of me. Also, you can donate on PayPal if you like. Thanks to those who have. Also, you may want to check out the original music, located at soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. That's my record label. And we've been making original music since the year 2000. And there's also a SoundCloud account there, so check that out. And let's get back to space. Check out the Aurora gallery here on spaceweather.com. Check it out. Stratospheric images of Aurora being on board the Sophia mission. So, again, 10.7 centimeter radio flux back down to 67. Legit solar minimum conditions, although still higher than predicted values. And for that, we thank you. Let's look at more data, spaceweathernews.com. Shout out Ben Davidson. GOES X-ray flux still flatlined. We're going to continue to see perturbations in the GOES magnetometer, and we're going to show you why in a moment via the Gong 2 data. KP index is at 2, and electron flux is looking a little bit more normal. Not expecting to see a massive dip in this today. Charging hazards are minor, and they are over the southern Indian Ocean. F2 layer is extremely discharged on both the nighttime side, which is over here, and the daytime side, which is over here, if you weren't aware. And let's look at the aurora forecast. There's Borealis, not too shabby. And there's Australis, also significant auroras, despite such a low solar wind density. Here's the Gong 2 data. And we're going to see continued perturbations in the GOES magnetometer. As you see, these fields here are all over the place. You see these direct field force lines, as well as very indirect field force lines, and that's going to cause havoc with the GOES magnetometer. It's going to be all over the place for the next 2 days at least. Keep in mind, magnetic phenomena can change with absolutely no warning and regularly does. So don't count on it. Follow me on other social media if you like, such as Instagram. You may see interesting stuff like this. Images of, there's Jaws when she was about 2 inches long. Here's Jim when he was about 2 inches long. Yeah, James T. Kirk, the Pleco who's gone where no Pleco has gone before. Also follow us on Twitter if you like. Thanks to everybody who's sharing our videos. We've gained a few subscribers here, and for that we thank you. So if you find it easier to share them on Twitter, share them on Twitter. I don't tweet. I don't like the platform, but it's there anyway for your convenience. Also on Facebook. Also not a fan of this platform. However, we do post the videos every day. So since there are so many folks on here in the billions, we put the videos up here, even though we laugh in the face of Facebook's algorithms. Also on Gab, social media that I'm actually using. So check us out there also. Check out yesterday's awesome thumbnail. And on minds.com, the social media that will not censor you. And is open source, I might add. Which reminds me, let's talk about one thing real quick. Living without Google. Check out the DuckDuckGo blog. How to live without Google. Well, you can do it, believe it or not. All you got to do is use DuckDuckGo instead of Google as your search engine. Use something besides Gmail, Calendar, and Contacts. I don't know about using something besides YouTube. Not a fan of Vimeo either. OpenStreetMaps. How about that? Sick of Google Maps? How about OpenStreetMap, an open source map that is probably better than Google Maps since it's open source? Don't quote me on it. Again, thanks, new subscribers, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. We got to get through this, so we're going to continue on. Earthquake rundown. Lots of quakes hitting California following that 7.1, which has caused complete havoc. 4.9 in Indonesia, we see. This is nearly 24 hours ago. Here's a 5.1 in Indonesia, right in the same area. 5.0 at Vanuatu. Probably the largest quake we see in the past 24 hours was a 6.0 north of Arawa at Papua New Guinea. Zoom in on that location real quick so you can see where it is. There's a location of that quake noted on the star on the map. And let's continue at as fast of a speed as I can read. A 4.4 Little Lake, California. That's not right. That's a 2.8. 4.4 at Russia, east of the Kamchatka Peninsula. 4.6 in the north of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Used to be a weird place for quakes. Now we see them about once a week. 4.7 in Indonesia. 5.0 at Japan. 4.8 at Indonesia. That one is at depth. Heads up. There's a swarm going on there. Shout out if you're viewing the videos from Indonesia and leave a comment. Here's a 5.2 at Indonesia, also in the same place. Uptick in that area. 4.1 at Little Lake, California. Let's check the location of that, as we saw lots of quakes around the China Lake test facility. And once again, this one located right in the middle of the Naval Warfare Center. China Lake. Leave a comment if you're viewing from the military base. So this is an earthquake uptick, folks. Yeah, there's a bit of an earthquake uptick here. All right, there's that 4.1. So we see a 4.9 south of the Kermadec Islands, pretty close to New Zealand. Leave a comment if you felt that, New Zealand viewers. Here's a 4.4 at Greece, 5.2 at Mexico. Here's me learning how to speak the English language, a 5.2 at Mexico. Here's a 4.4 at depth south of the Kermadec Islands. Please click. There we go. Heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. Could affect northern New Zealand. Again, shout out New Zealanders. If you're watching Eddie Dawkins, please leave a comment. Here's a 4.4 in Indonesia. Here's a 5.2 at New Zealand. It's actually farther away than those Kermadec Island quakes. Another 4.9 at the Kermadec Islands. 5.0 at the Kermadec Islands. Moving on to this wonderful Zero Hedge article. Bombshell claim, scientists find man-made climate change doesn't exist in practice. Oh, well, thanks for letting us know. Apparently, if carbon dioxide caused temperatures to rise 0.1 degrees C over the past 100 years, the human contribution was 1/100th of a degree Celsius, Finnish researchers bluntly state in one among a series of papers. How do you like this? They actually mention cosmic rays. When galactic cosmic rays increase, so do low clouds. And when cosmic rays decrease, clouds do as well. So climate warming may be caused by an opposite umbrella effect. That's right, folks. Low clouds cause the albedo above your head to go up. More light gets reflected back into space. And that's the real mechanism by which climate change occurs. It's because of cosmic rays and cloud formation, and also volcanism, because the aerosols that volcanoes produce also make the planet cooler, because clouds are able to form cloud nuclei on that dust. Also, carbonyl sulfide that comes out of volcanoes is an issue. It's a massive greenhouse gas. Anyway, links to this article in the description below the video. And if you want to monitor cosmic rays, there's links to that also. Volcano rundown. Here's Stromboli. Activity at Stromboli remaining elevated. Mount Manam exploding and producing a 12,000 foot ash plume. Sanjiang Api, 7,000 foot ash plume there. Dukono, 7,000 foot ash plume there. Carinci back on the list, exploding and producing a 13,000 foot ash plume. Volcanic uptick, folks. Popocatépetl back on the list, exploding once again, producing a 21,000 foot ash plume. Revenador, 16,000 foot ash plume there. And please do not do the Fosbury flop over Sabancaya. Unless you can do a 27,000 foot Fosbury flop. Please leave a comment if you're the Incredible Hulk watching this video, if you're able to press keys. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar. We see heavy storms over Florida, as well as North Carolina. Some Sasquatch fart-looking activity going on over Kansas, as well as southern Texas. Please leave a comment if you've seen Sasquatch enter this plane of existence through a dimensional barrier or portal. If you are out in the Gulf right now on a shrimp boat with Forrest Gump, please get below decks, as there's lightning all over the place. And there's nothing worse than seeing a hunk get struck by lightning. Shout out to Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney. Look at the winds. There's that low pressure system directly south of New Orleans, adding insult to injury as the flooding has got to be ridiculous. Hoping everybody is okay down there, as you've received ample warning. Anyway, notice the counterclockwise rotation of this low. That's the surface winds. Let's show you the upper level winds. Ah, yes, rotating in a clockwise manner. And that's the way tropical cyclones work, folks. Watch yesterday's video for links to Andrew Hall's description of this via the Thunderbolts project. Links in the description to yesterday's video for the way atmospheric physics really works. Let's give you a quick view of the water vapor map to give you some idea of how much of a mess it's going to be. And it's going to be bad. You can see a lot of water evaporating out of the Gulf right now, and the dry air is being soaked right up by this low. This thing is going to intensify, as I'm sure you're already aware. since it's all over every possible news source and every possible YouTube channel. Who knows nothing about atmospheric physics? And let's go back. Let's go back and look at the cloud layer, as we see some formation already starting here. Looking like it's going to be a bad day in the Gulf, unless you're a surfer. Please leave a comment if you like to don a wetsuit. Glad to hear Dakota Horn. Glad to hear that the corn is growing fine. That's great. Pennsylvania crops are way behind. I've been meaning to make a video about it. I have shot some video, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We're going to move on to more stuff in just a minute here. I'm just trying to read through the comments. And thanks for everybody who left a comment during the live stream. If you're not viewing live, leave a comment anyway in the non-live stream comments. Anyway, we see major cloud formation happening here over the Gulf, and I'm sure you're well aware of the situation there. And we've moved on to the "that is an ass, and that is a hole in the ground" vulgarity-free section of the video. Let's talk about freedom. Free. Let's do a compound sentence. There is a complete
dearth
of
free
speech on the internet thanks to big tech. Let's read the definition. Free: 1, not costing or charging anything. 2, having legal and political rights of a citizen, enjoying civil and political liberty, enjoying political independence or freedom from outside domination, enjoying a personal freedom, not subject to the control or domination of another, not determined by anything being its own nature or being, choosing or capable of choosing for itself, determined by the choice of the actor or performer, made, done, or given voluntarily or spontaneously, relieved from lacking something, and especially something unpleasant or burdensome, not bound or confined or detained by force, having no trade restrictions, not subject to government regulation, not subject to restriction or official control, having no obligations as to work or commitments, and so on and so on. Now, we're not talking about free stuff, as we've already seen the effects of a $15 minimum wage in California. Please leave a comment if you've placed an order at a McDonald's using an automated kiosk. Dear big tech, you cannot break the internet, but the internet can break you. Google, comma, Facebook, comma, Apple, comma, and Twitter, period. You're on notice. In fact, if you're on the board of directors, you may want to leave the country. Now, we're not a big fan of censorship, as you may have realized. And Facebook's algorithms are less than optimal. Links in the description to this article as well, below the video, about our free speech crisis, a town hall article. And I don't have any comment except that who needs the government to censor you when big tech will do it for free? We're going to go back to the sun here, show you some more images, and then we are going to exit stage north. Wait, we're going to exit stage east. All right, there we go. Here's a 171 angstroms view. Again, very, very low solar activity. Spots to watch are this area right here, as well as this area. Although no sunspots expected to form because of any of this. Some great magnetic looping there setting on the west. Right over there. And we do see that filament that we saw also in the 304 angstroms view. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please, again, visit the links in the description below the video. Help support the channel. Please share on your social media if you enjoy the content. Press like and subscribe. Press the notification bell. We'll be back again tomorrow to do it all over again. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. Use the proper instruments like the SDO. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.